Hi, I'm Elizabeth Fox. Today I'm going to present a tutorial on using information ethically. The ethical use of information differs somewhat between different countries and cultures. In the United States, information is considered a valuable resource, so researchers are expected to follow some guidelines while using it. There are several goals for this topic. When you are done with it, you will be able to define what plagiarism is and recognize when there is plagiarism present in a paper. You will be able to define what a citation is, recognize them in papers you read, and be able to explain why citing is important. According to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, plagiarism means to steal and pass off the ideas or words of another as one's own, or to use another's production without crediting the sources. What that means is that we are expected to give credit to those who came up with an idea that we have used. If you read a paper and then either quote or paraphrase something from that paper, you are expected to tell your readers or listeners where the words or the idea originally came from. While this definition typically deals with words, the concept applies to images, movies, music, art, and other sources as well. Whenever you use something from someone else, give them credit. This can seem overwhelming at times, but think of it this way. If you come up with a really brilliant idea and you write it up in a journal article, you want others to give you credit for your brilliance. To get credit, you must first give it. Plagiarism comes in several forms. The most obvious, perhaps, is direct copying of a work without crediting the original author. There are times when it is appropriate to quote directly from one of your sources. When you do this, be sure to put quotation marks around the quote and cite where you got the quotation from, according to your preferred citation style. Another obvious form of plagiarism is when the wording is changed, but the idea and the way it is stated is still substantially the same as the original, and the original is not given credit. Paraphrasing your source is very common and a good practice. However, you still need to cite where the idea came from. There are times when there are several sources that discuss the same idea. You may have to cite several sources at once for an idea. Your citation style will dictate what order you put the citations in, but you do need to include each source. When you cite sources, there are two parts to the citation. You need to put a marker in your actual text that will send people to the full reference or citation. The in-text citation can come in many forms. For some citation styles, you simply insert a number in the text. The numbers may be in brackets or superscripted and will refer to the citation at the end with the same number. Often, you will use the author and date in the text, and the bibliography or footnotes will be alphabetical by author. The second part is the full list of citations called a bibliography or reference list, or if the full citations are included at the bottom of the page they are cited on, footnotes. Whether they are numbered or alphabetical by author depends on the style format and matches the in-text citation. Each item you cite is fully described in this part. It is important to use both in-text citations and full citations in your paper. There are a number of reasons why being careful to cite your sources are important. First, it is required of you as an SDSU student as listed in the Student Handbook as part of the Student Code. Let me read you the section of the Student Code dealing with plagiarism. Plagiarism includes, but is not limited to, the following. 1. Using, by paraphrase or direct quotation, the published or unpublished work of another person without full and clear acknowledgement. 2. using materials prepared by another person or agency engaged in the selling of term papers or other academic materials without prior authorization by the instructor. Or 3. Engaging in other behavior that a reasonable person would consider plagiarism. From a practical perspective, it is important to note that consequences of plagiarism may include flunking an assignment or an entire course. If it is especially egregious or occurs repeatedly, it can also result in being dismissed from a program or the university. In real life, there are cases of degrees being withdrawn when it has been discovered, sometimes years later, that a person plagiarized in their thesis or dissertation. While it is rare, you can find stories from around the world of plagiarism costing someone his or her degree or career. Here are just a few. In 2017, Monica Crowley, a news analyst for the Fox News, was in line for a place in President Trump's National Security Council. It was found that her 2012 book included quite a lot of plagiarized material. It then came to light that her PhD dissertation also included plagiarism. She decided to withdraw from consideration for the job. In 2013, Annette Schavan, the Science and Education Minister in Germany, had her PhD revoked by the University of Dusseldorf because of plagiarism in her dissertation, which was, ironically, on ethics. The director of Thailand's National Innovation Agency in 2013 had his PhD revoked from Chulalongkorn University because the university found that 80% of the dissertation was plagiarized. Sir Isaac Newton once said that science progressed by standing on the shoulders of giants. Citing your sources is how we build on the ideas of others and progress knowledge in our field. The lesson is that you need to be very conscious about where you get your ideas, and you need to give credit to the originators. There are many different citation styles available. SDSU offers a software called EndNote that helps students and other writers insert citations in their writing. EndNote has over 6,000 citation styles. In reality, many of those styles are very similar. You should talk to the professors in your departments to find out what citation style they would like you to use. Many departments have a default style. For instance, nursing uses APA, the American Psychological Association style. English uses MLA, the Modern Language Association style. And sociology uses ASA, the American Sociological Association style. Often, journals will take a basic style, like Chicago, APA, or MLA, and adjust it to meet their needs. The first step in preventing plagiarism is to know how your professors expect you to cite your sources. All citation styles have some common elements. The intent of all citations is to allow your readers to find the sources you used. As you do your own research, you may find an article that is particularly relevant and want to follow that research back through time. You do that by following the citations that a paper uses, then looking at the citations in that earlier paper, and so forth. In order to give you enough information to find those sources, citations include authors, titles. If a source is an article or chapter, include the article or chapter title, as well as the book or journal title. The date of publication, the volume, issue, and pages for parts of a series, such as a journal or a monograph series. The publisher for a book, and the URL, DOI, or other location aid for online works. It is very helpful later if you make sure you have all of this information when you first find a potentially useful source. It is often difficult and time-consuming to find missing information later when you have a deadline. I've already mentioned Newton's quote when talking about why you should care about plagiarism and citing, but there are some other reasons why citing is important. Your work will become part of the scholarly conversation. Unlike conversations we have around the dinner table with friends and family, the scholarly conversation occurs over a broader time, and not everyone involved will hear the same content before your contribution. Citing your sources ensures that those reading your work can put it in context within the existing knowledge base. They will then be able to build on you by citing your work. Citing the work you are building on shows that you have done adequate research to build your study on existing knowledge, but not to unnecessarily repeat research already done. There is a place for repeating research to confirm results and conclusions as well, and that also requires that you show that you have done your research on the background of the original work. Despite our best efforts, we all need to be fact-checked. Citing your work allows others to check your facts. Having your work checked by others allows you to ultimately publish the strongest work possible. The next steps in this class is to do the 2 assignments associated with this part of the module. Assignment 1 is to find a journal in your discipline and determine what the style it uses looks like. Answer the short questions in D2L about your discipline, journal, and the style. Assignment 2 is to read the case study in D2L and participate in the discussions based on it.